Okay. So tonight, what are we going to go over? We are going to discuss the project, right? Think Saige. What are all the things that we love about this project and we hope that you love as well? We're going to talk about affordable homeownership and the difference between affordable homeownership and affordable rentals, because there is a difference. And then how could you leverage this opportunity for wealth creation? That's been a topic of conversation for the past couple of years. How do you leverage this particular opportunity to help you and your family build wealth? We'll talk about financing and what does it look like to obtain a pre-approval to place an offer on this property or on one of these units. And then understanding that if you have a voucher, yes, you can actually utilize that in some cases to purchase a home. Many people aren't aware of that. So kind of what does that look like? We'll give a brief overview of that. And then we will end the evening with questions and answers. Again, throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, make sure that you're putting them in the chat. We will respond to them at the end of the presentation, but we want to make sure that you are heard. So make sure you put them in the chat.
All right, everyone, here we are going to get into more exciting parts of this presentation. So we have Saige on Fountain is right here by Fountain Hill, just to show you where the project is right now. Right next to it, we have Warren Gardens. As you can see, you're not too far from Boston Medical Center, about a 10-minute drive or less. We also have Dudley Station. Nubian Square also is there. We have Bartlett Yard and we have Ruggles Station. Now we're going to get into more excitement. Here we have our studio unit. The studio unit is 600 square feet. And as you can see with the layout, you have a beautiful entryway. As you come in, you have your corridor, and it is an open concept feel. The studio does not necessarily feel like a studio unit. It functions more like a one-bedroom. And the developer was being very intentional about this unit, simply because he wanted it to feel like home. And you can see here on the photos on the right, it's not small, it's functional, it's open, and you have a frosted door where your bedroom would be, but yet you have up top, it is open where natural light can come in. And that is why we call it a studio. It does not have a closet. Your closet is in the living space, but that is not a bad thing to have because you have plenty of space to store items. The units, all units consist of stone countertops. You will have wood floors, stainless steel appliances, and washer and dryer hookup in every unit. Next, we will go to our one bedroom. And here you see again, beautiful flow. It is open concept. Here, we want to highlight that the bedroom has a walk-in closet. And again, you have the functionality that you need to be able to entertain, spend time with the family. And it is just absolutely functional and bright with natural light coming in. Here we have our two bedroom, which is 1,000 square feet. And we want you to keep in mind that in the city of Boston, a 3-bedroom is actually 1,100 square feet. So it's not a small unit. You have your master bedroom, which has a walk-in closet. And then you have another second bedroom, which is a good size. And you have a good generous size closet as well. Again, open concept, the flow, you have plenty of storage, as you can see from the photographs to your right. You see the finishes, the windows bringing in natural light and plenty of storage. Next, we have our 3-bedroom unit, which is 1,500 square feet. And the highlight of this unit is that it has 2 bathrooms. So you have your master bedroom, which has a master bath and a walk-in closet. Plenty of storage, plenty of space. You have your other 2 bedrooms, which have great size closet spaces. Again, just the flow of it, it's not small. Everybody has space to kind of stretch out and just do their thing, and just the functionality of it. We want to make sure that you guys are proud to come home to this space and just make it your own. Next, we have our lobby and amenity space. So here, what the developer wanted to highlight is just coming into the space, you are able to have a seating area. So if you're coming in from work, your feet are tired before you go up to your unit, you just want to sit down. If you need to wait for someone, for an Uber, you can lounge in that area. We also have the mailroom. And we have where the packages can come in. So the mailroom is very secure. And we know with the holiday season that just passed, a lot of people had issues with their packages. So this is a monitored space. We have maintenance, we have cameras, so you won't have any issues feeling that, okay, your items are going to be stolen. We also have, as you can't really see it based on this picture, but we do have a bike room where you can store your bikes and be able to just be part of the community and make it green. So this is the area that we want to highlight. We also want to let you know that we will have artwork that will be displayed on the walls. So if you guys have any artists in mind that you would like to recommend, you can drop it in the chat, any local artists. We would take those recommendations and reach out to them. Here we have our other amenity space. So we have a lounge and TV room. So if you have anyone over and you don't want to use the space in your unit to watch the game, to watch a movie, you can use that lounge space to be able to entertain. We also have a work pod station. And in the work pod station, if you're an entrepreneur, you work from home, you want to have a business meeting, so those are very private. You can sit in that area and work just for different scenery outside of your unit. And we also have a wellness and studio room. So for those who just want to stretch out, you want to just do some yoga, we have that space that will be made available. It's very bare right now, but my apologies, a little nervous, but the association, if you do want to have like light weights in there, then you would be able to have those in there. And then we also have a dining and kitchen area. That space, you can meet there. We have an area that you're able to throw a party. So in that area, if you wanted to throw a bigger gathering outside of your unit, you would be able to do that as well. So next we have an outdoor space. The space, I love it because not too many places in Boston actually have a beautiful green space for outdoors. You have trees. It also makes it private. You can have a barbecue. You can just lounge and enjoy the weather out there. There's also a garden and planter space for those who love to do gardening and have a green thumb. We also have 40 spots for parking. So the developer wanted to keep that in mind because in the city of Boston, parking is being eliminated. So he made that thought in mind to have you guys have the parking and not fight for spaces and be able to just have a car in the city. So that was very, very thoughtful of him to have that. So this is what the amenities are. This is what the units consist of. And here, if you are on the second floor of the units, this is the beautiful view of the city that you will have. You see downtown, Prudential Center. So you will be able to see the beautiful sunrise from the second floor onward, and you will be able to see the beautiful sunset at night. The picture on the bottom is the night photo and the top is the daytime. All right. And what do you do in the space, in the community at Saige? So when you live at Saige, you have a rich culture in your community. We have restaurants, we have the tea, which is very accessible. We are 5 minutes from Nubian Square. You're able to be part of that rich culture. Highway access is not too far. You're not too far from the library, and it's just a 10-minute drive to downtown. And here we partner with our local businesses, as you can see from the photographs here. And we too want you to be able to support these local businesses as residents at Saige, because we too want to be part of the Saige community and support them, and they have supported us.
Okay, thank you. You did an amazing job, Katia. She did a great job, guys. I saw you guys encouraging her in the chat, so don't be nervous. Again, we hope you guys love the space. If you love what you've seen so far, please drop a 7 in the chat so we know that you guys really like the space. You love the rooms, the amenity spaces. Perfect. Yay! Exciting. A lot of thought went into the design. Again, the developer is very thoughtful. We held focus groups. We wanted to make sure that we were building something that people wanted to live in, and not just a developer has an idea, I'm going to put this structure in the middle of a community. We actually wanted community feedback. So this is the result of people being involved, people being engaged, and having a product that we are proud of, we know the community is proud of, and we hope that you guys are proud of as well. So why Saige? Why now? Well, we want to make sure that there is equity and diversity in our communities. With the current real estate market, it is very expensive to live in Boston. So it's becoming increasingly kind of like a have and the have-nots. And that's not fair, right? How do we have it so we can create housing so that people across various incomes have an opportunity to really enjoy Boston and live in Boston, not come in and commute to enjoy it and then leave. So that's kind of what this project is creating housing for a group, a certain demographic, so that they have an opportunity to also stay in the city. We wanted to prioritize ownership over rentals. Why? There's a ton of rentals and affordable rentals throughout the city of Boston. Boston has the highest percentage of affordable units for the state. And when we think of Roxbury, Roxbury has the highest percentage of affordable rentals for the city as well, but not a lot of affordable homeownership opportunities, right? So you have that opportunity to kind of come in, get an affordable rent, but as your income goes up, it becomes increasingly harder for you to stay there, and you have to make choices. With affordable ownership, it's yours. No one's kicking you out once you make sure you pay your mortgage and you cover everything. It also provides housing stability. Again, when you own, people can't tell you to get out. They can't say, my cousin wants to move in, my daughter wants to move in, I need the space back. It's yours. So we wanted to make sure that we focused on that. And then kind of talking about wealth creation. That's something that we are passionate about. How do we help people understand what this opportunity is and how to leverage it to actually build wealth for their family? Okay, so when we think about affordable housing, I think a lot of people, depending on what you've seen growing up, has been, a lot of people packed into a tiny space. It's been maybe substandard housing quality. For others, it's kind of like not necessarily in a desirable area. And for others, like, it's great, right? They've been able to live in a newer building and something that's well maintained with landlords or owners that care. Saige is ideally a project for you, right? It is a homeownership opportunity specific to you guys so that you have all of the luxuries or most of the luxuries that other people have, and making it a space that you love coming home to every day. Not that you're stressed out and like, oh, I don't want to go home, but really creating that space where you look forward to coming home, meeting your neighbors or not, having your own personal space, but having that community space where you can engage and interact with different people. So we're going to get into the finances of it all, right? So how do you qualify for this? These units, again, it is based on your income, if you qualify or not. There's 80% AMI and 100% AMI. So there are two income tiers. And the simplest way to explain that is they look at the median income of people of greater Boston. So this is going Cambridge, kind of all around Boston. What is the median income that households have? And how can they create housing so that people that are at these tiers can actually afford them? Based on the prices of homes today, it's really hard if you're making $67,000 or $80,000 a year to purchase a home in the city of Boston because it's so expensive. So I'm just going to focus on the 100% AMI tier because that's like the absolute max that you can earn and still qualify for these. If you're below, you kind of have options of if you're going to be at the 100% or at the 80% AMI. Okay, so for a one-person household, so if you live by yourself, you need to make at or below $84,600. So if you make $70,000, you're good. If you make $85,000, you make too much, right? Because they have the cap on how much you can make for your income. And it goes up according to how many people are in your household. So we'll go down and say for a four-person household, you can make up to $120,800. Let's assume that's two working adults and let's say two children. That you can split that income. So that means each person, each adult is making about $60,000 to qualify for this. Or it could be a single parent with three children, and that parent is making $120,000, but their household size is what makes it so that they qualify because it's based on how many people will be living in this space. And these numbers are on your gross income. So now let's look at the pricing and better understanding why I think it's a great opportunity. When we look at studios in Boston, one, there aren't that many. And traditionally, when we think of a studio, how I always thought of a studio is your kitchen, is your living room, is your bedroom, is your dining room. It's one big square and everything's in there. As you can see, the developer is really thoughtful for this project and made your bedroom or your sleeping quarters separate so that you don't feel like it's all one space. When people come over and you're entertaining, they're not looking at your bed or sitting on your bed, right? It's separate. So I love the design of these studios because it gives you a lot more flexibility. So for the studio, you need the prices at the 80% AMI. Again, they're different tiers. Would be $164,800. This is projected from the 2021 BPDA prices. So we'll see what their 2022 numbers look like, but based on their 2021 numbers, this is kind of the projected sales price. When we do the math of looking at a typical buyer and their credit score, making sure all of your finances are in order, we'll talk about that later, it would be around we'll say $1,300, right? Kind of your all-in housing cost. So that includes your mortgage, which is principal, interest, taxes, insurance, condo fees. All of that this is what you're looking at for your housing cost. Let's take that to what the rental market says. For the rental market, there is no studio or one bedroom under $1,500. If you find it, that's a phenomenal deal. Go get it, right? But really, they're about $1,700 or more a month. When we look at sales prices for these same units, you're looking at $350,000 or more to purchase a studio or even a one bedroom at $400,000 or more. Not too far from this project, if you go into Nubian Square, across from Dudley Cafe on Tabor Street, there are condos going up. They're actually there and for sale now. One bedrooms and two bedrooms, like they're starting at like $450,000 for a one bedroom. So when you see these prices, you see that you're getting them at a substantial discount compared to what the market rate is. And that's the city's commitment to making it affordable for you guys. And we'll discuss kind of what that looks like later on, because everything is a give or take, right? For the 2-bedroom units, again, the projected price is around $240,000. Doing the math, want to state again, this is based on each person's individual financial situation. So your numbers may vary a little bit. It's just under $1,700. I don't know a 2-bedroom that's new construction or updated that's $1,700 anywhere in Boston. Doesn't matter the neighborhood, right? You're looking at $2,200 and up for these. And if you're going to purchase it, $450. 3-bedrooms, same thing. It's under $300,000. Your all-in housing costs, $1,900. It's $3,000 right now in Boston. So when we're looking at these numbers, we see that this is a great opportunity for people to be able to buy, you own it for less than renting. So now let's look at the 100% AMI. So these are higher prices, but they're still affordable compared to the market. I'm not going to go over each one, but you can see where your housing costs from a studio to a 3-bedroom ranges from about $1,600 to about $2,400, which is amazing. It gives you an opportunity to significantly save while you're owning a property. You don't have to worry about someone asking you to leave. Again, these numbers would be based on the current market, interest rates, your individual financial profile, because we do look at buyer profiles for these to see kind of what things look like. So I like to do math to help people figure out what the numbers are, especially when you're thinking of, well, I need to save for a down payment. What does that look like? In the rental market, you know you need first, last, security, broker's fee. Sometimes they'll let you slide on the last month's rent. So they only need 3 of those and they all equal 1 month of rent payment, right? So doing the math on that, on a minimum, you're at like $5,000 just to move into a rental, all the way up to $8,000 if they're only doing 3. If they need all of their money, they need all 4 payments, you're at $11,000 to rent. Just to move into a rental, you need $11,000. Now we're looking at this project and taking it as a percent of the purchase price, assuming those are the prices. And for down payment, it needs to be between 1.5 to 3% of the purchase price. I did the math for you guys. You're looking at between $2,500 all the way up to $10,000 for your down payment. Still less than you would pay for renting. So you could buy, your housing costs every month would be less. And then even the money to buy the house could be less because of all of the programs that the city has placed out there to make it more affordable for its residents. So how do you qualify for this, right? So this is exclusive to first-time home buyers. I'm sorry for those of you who are trying to buy investment property. You've had the opportunity to own a home. This is to give those who have not the chance where it's exclusively for them. So this is for first-time home buyers, which means you have not owned in the past 3 years, or this is the first time you've purchased a home, period. You must qualify based on the income guidelines. So they are going to look at your income to make sure that you do qualify. You will have to obtain a pre-approval from a lender for the purchase price. So whatever the price is at the tier that you are, the pre-approval needs to show or display that amount as well. It must be owner occupied, which means, again, you can't buy it and then move out and say, I'm going to turn it into an Airbnb, or I'm not going to live there anymore. I'm just going to rent it to a tenant. You must live there while you own the property. And we talked about it earlier. If you are a voucher holder, there is a potential for you to qualify to own as well, because these prices are such that where the numbers, the math makes sense where you can purchase with the voucher. And finally, these are lottery, right? So I think I saw in the chat, some people were asking if it's first come, first serve. The goal would be for it to be a lottery so that it's fair and it's equitable for everyone. Everyone has an equal opportunity to live in one of these units. And this is, for those of you who've applied for the City of Boston lottery, it's a little bit different. You're going to have to apply for this separate. It's going to be separate from the City of Boston lottery process. That's why we wanted you guys to sign up if you're interested, so we can keep you updated when the lottery becomes public so that you can apply for it. Because it's not going to be the city of Boston where they automatically enter you into every lottery that comes up. There will be a Boston resident preference. So if you are living in the city of Boston, there is a preference in terms of the lottery system so that you can purchase one of these units. How do we leverage this for wealth creation? What we didn't talk about is kind of what are the restrictions, right? Some of them are you need to live in it. It has to be owner occupied. So if you move out, the city's going to ask you to sell that unit because they don't want you to turn it into rental property, which I think is fair because you got it. If we look at those numbers, like a 50% discount, they want to make sure it goes to families and to individuals who really want to live in Boston and live in these units. So you have an opportunity to purchase at an affordable price. Looking at the numbers, it's like 50% off almost in some cases. You get to stabilize your housing costs for years to come. No one's coming in to say rent's going up, right? Your prices are going to stay about the same and stable for you over the life of your loan. You have unrestricted earning potential. So with affordable rentals, as your income increases, your percentage of the rental payment increases. In ownership, you could win the lotto tomorrow, or you can get a promotion at your job or switch jobs and double your salary. Once you own, that's it. You just need to qualify up until you close. And when your name is on that deed, go after every job to make more money, to do whatever it is that you want to do, because no one's coming to tell you need to move out because you make too much money, okay? So you want to be able to, again, help people advance in their careers. We want you to focus on your goals. This is great for those who are entrepreneurs and you're trying to say, I need to invest more time and more resources into my business. I need to stabilize my housing cost. This creates that opportunity for you to not have to worry about your housing costs so that now you can put those resources towards your goals. And we want you to leverage your savings. You are going to save by owning these units. So what do you do with that savings, right? If you're saving $100 a month, that's $1,200 for the year. If you're saving $500 a month, as we look at that chart, it kind of shows you roughly about how much you could save. Like that's $6,000 a year. What are you doing with that money and how are you leveraging that savings to invest and to build wealth? So we have those conversations with you to make sure you're thinking big picture and not just in the now, what's available to you. And then with these units, you have, again, with home ownership, you can utilize your potential equity when you sell the home to do whatever you want after. For these, there is a cap. So if the neighborhood goes up in value 100% tomorrow, unfortunately, you don't get to sell your home at market rate. It needs to be affordable to the next buyer, but the city allows you to gain some equity in with your purchase so that you do walk away with some money. And this is pending kind of what the market does, right? If we continue to rise, that's a great thing. If we take a dip, like back, in 08, that's still okay because it's cheaper for you to stay and own that than it is to go out there and rent. To tie everything in, if you are interested in this opportunity, we encourage you to sign up on the website. We'll follow up with you guys. But we want you to join our 90-day challenge. And that's in partnership with Thumbprint Realty, Our Village Initiative. We have a credit repair specialist coming in. We have lenders that make sure you have everything in your buyer profile so that when it's time to apply for that pre-approval, the lender is going to say, yes, we can lend you this much money to buy a home and you can enter the lottery. So we're making sure that we provide that support system for you free of charge to make sure that you are prepared for this opportunity and you're not concerned or worried about anything. A lot of times people figure out, I want to buy a home today. They made the decision today, but their credit isn't where it needs to be. They have $0 in their savings account. Their debt to income is off. These are things that you need to pay attention to and address before you start that home buying process. And that's what this 90-day home challenge is geared towards, helping you prepare for that so that you know you are ready to purchase a home. And this is a little bit different than the first-time home buyer classes. That's something you have to take. So that's not optional. You have to take your first time home buyers class, but that talks about the big picture of owning a home and what does it look like to manage the home after you have it. This is specific to how do we get you pre-approved from a bank, right? We're taking one subset of that whole home buyer class and focusing to make sure that you are eligible and qualified to purchase a home. So what's the breakdown of these units? So there are 16 studios, there are 16 one-bedroom units, there are 6 two-bedroom units, and then there are 2 three-bedroom units. So making sure that, again, we cover the range so that whether you're an individual or a family, you have an opportunity to own. People ask, well, why is it so many smaller units? Well, when we look at the Boston housing stock, it's largely a predominantly 3-bedroom units, right? There aren't a lot of spaces out there for at an affordable price for smaller household sizes. So, and this is again, feedback with the community trying to create housing for those who have smaller household sizes and are usually kind of blocked out of the market because there aren't even affordable units with 1 or 2 bedroom units. They're usually larger because it's built for larger households. So this project is really set so that you have that stepping stone, whether you're starting off on your journey or maybe you're downsizing and your kids have gone off to college and now you're like, I'm ready to own, but I only need a space for me. What does that look like? So what is the timeline for this, right? And again, this is, we know Boston, we know snow, we know delays, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so bear with us. This is the projected timeline, but understanding that it can change based on all of these variables that are kind of out of our control. Right now, through the summer, we're trying to get you guys prepared. If you're interested in this opportunity, we want to make sure that you will get pre-approved or we get you in a position so that you can speak to a bank confidently about obtaining a pre-approval. Then by summer, we want to make sure you have your pre-approval for the lottery, which would be in the fall. All goes well and no delays. You'd be signing your purchase and sales and really saying, yes, I want this house. I'm putting my name on the dotted line. Keep my unit for me. You're going to reserve the unit that you want. And then by the end of the year or 2023, you would be a homeowner in a new construction building where Katia showed you guys earlier what those views are. Those are from the 2nd floor. So if you're on the, and I think someone asked here, how many, like how tall is it? 5 floors, it's an elevator building. So you're at the top, you have views of the city of Boston skyline. You have views on the other side of Jamaica Plain and all of the greenery and just a beautiful view of the city of Boston and all of its magnificence. So I think this project is great to give you that opportunity to live, you know, have a luxurious life at an affordable price is kind of how I look at it. Because people pay a lot of money for kind of the same amenities and what we have that we put a lot of thought into. So now we're going to have our lender partner, Michelle Miser from Cambridge Trust is going to share with you guys kind of a little bit more on the financing side of things. And I gave you the sharing right, Michelle.
All right. I will. Oh. All right, hold on 1 second. Can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I of course went to share and my system, I'm basically paused and can't get everything to move forward. So I'm going to take 1 moment to log out and I'm going to join the Zoom in a moment. I'm just going to come back in so that it will work. Okay. So just keep a lookout for me to let me back into the Zoom. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We'll do that.
Okay.
So in the meantime, we can, I can look and answer some questions. I do encourage you guys to go to the website and sign up for more information because that lets us know that you, from this presentation, you really love this development project, you want more information, you want help to make sure that you can move forward with it. On that website, we have, I was going to do the tours. If we have time tonight, we can do it. But we have on there virtual tours where you can click through and kind of move around in each of the units to get a feel for the space. We showed you some photos, but there is a way where you can go in there and really experience what it would be like living in the space. And we encourage you guys to do that, definitely. Let's go back and see some of the questions. The HOA fees. Yep, so the HOA fees are going to vary a bit depending on the units, but they're around $300 a month. And that covers the snow removal, maintenance. There is a property management company 24 hours to make sure that you guys are okay in the unit, and reserves. Something that a lot of associations don't think of is kind of setting aside money for when, you know, capital improvements are needed. So making sure that that is there to keep costs low for you guys in the long term. The website, yes. I believe it was just placed in the chat for you. So someone asked, when would we close and when would we know if we won the lottery? Again, that's subject to kind of no construction delays, no snowstorms that cause construction delays and the pandemic. If all goes according to plan, then the lottery would be sometime in the fall, late summer, fall. And then after that, you would be able to take ownership either by the end of this year or top of 2023 is kind of when the process would kind of be going through for you. And part of that is how fast can you get your documents into the lender. So that's where you're going to see a lot of me. So during these presentations, Katia is going to be doing a lot of the presentations. When we get into when you're selected for the lottery, that's when you get to deal with me a lot more, and even through the 90-day challenge, where it's making sure you have all of your documents to get into the lenders on time so that we're not missing anything. And then with real estate, you know, interest rates kind of go up and down, making sure that we make sure we lock in your rates as we go along. I'm not sure if Michelle is back. I don't think so. So I'm just going to go through some more questions. Is there an elevator? Yes, there is an elevator. Is there required down payment? We did talk about that before, and you guys will have access to, I'll send it out again so you can watch this presentation and share it with your friends and family. Yes, you need to put 1.5 to 3% of the purchase price. When I speak to people and giving them just general home buyer, guides and goals, want to aim to have at least $10,000. And that adjusts based on the purchase price, but $10,000 should be your aim in your head when you're saving to purchase a home, because whatever is not used, you can actually save that for your house fund, right? Because over time, you need to make maintenance for your home. You have that set aside, or you have an emergency fund. Until Michelle comes back, she'll talk about the programs. We talked about and we marketed the up to $50,000, right? And people are like, well, what is that? I want $50,000. Well, it's with the city of Boston has the One Plus Boston loan product. And that is where they use up to $50,000 to help you with your down payment, to help you with your closing costs, because there's more money involved in purchasing a home than just the down payment, to help you with the down payment, closing cost, and then to help buy down your interest rate. So right now, interest rates, I believe, are around 3%. I just had a young lady tell me she's closing next week on her home. Her interest rate is 1.75. That's amazing. And over the life of her loan, she's going to be saving thousands of dollars because her interest rate is so low. So that $50,000 or up to $50,000, some of that is going to be used kind of for down payment assistance, your closing costs, and then also to help get your interest rate where it needs to be so that this is truly affordable and you're saving over the life of the loan. With an interest rate so low, it's like you're not, the banks kind of lose out, right? You're not paying them all of this high interest or extra money towards them. It stays in your pocket. I think I see Michelle back, so I'll be silent now.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, take two. I apologize. We had a little snafu and the computer decided to freeze. So let's try this again. And here we go. All right, success. All right, and I just wanted to say, so my name is Michelle Miser, and I am a loan originator with Cambridge Trust, specifically working with and supporting first-time home buyers. So I'm going to talk about some of the basics that you should keep in mind when you're thinking about getting financing for the first time. And we will be working with the folks at Saige to do a workshop specifically around financing so that you can come, learn more, ask more questions, and I am happy to answer questions offline if you want to reach out. I'm happy to kind of help in any way I can. Additionally, I would encourage all of you to take a first-time homebuyer class if you have not already. And there will be great opportunity there to learn about financing, as well as get support from the organization where you take the class. So some really great opportunities and lots of information out there to support you in this process. So generally, we're talking about financing your first home, and at the end of the day, it's all about your income, your savings, your debt, and your credit. We're going to talk about some mortgage programs and kind of talk a bit about what debt to income ratios are. That is a real core thing in terms of decisions around how much a lender will lend you in terms of loan amount. So really the key piece is capacity. Do you have enough income to support the desired loan amount? So that we look at that first and foremost. Capital, savings. How much do you have saved? And how much money do you have? Because you're going to need enough to cover both the down payment and all the costs to close that loan. Credit. So you do have to have a certain credit score, but it's not just about a score. Sometimes people get really focused on the score, and really a lender is looking at all of the information in your credit report to kind of see what are those habits and what are those behaviors in terms of borrowing money and paying it back as agreed. And then ultimately, and I'm not going to talk about this today, but it's collateral. The unit that you're buying is the collateral on the property, and there will be an appraisal done to assure the lender that the value is there for the property. So acceptable income. We look at, you can have full-time income, part-time income, you could be self-employed, you could have seasonal employment, Social Security, retirement funds, alimony and child support. Oftentimes people have a mix. It could be a mix, one person has a mix of incomes. It could be that you have two borrowers, or sometimes we've seen three borrowers where it comes from a mix of income. So it really is, and keeping in mind as you're working with a lender, everything must be documented. So we would talk with you about what's your income and what's your savings and all the pieces. But ultimately, when we're doing the pre-approval and then the loan application, the loan for you, is we're really looking at what is documented. And it also, your income does have to be stable and likely to continue. So keep in mind, there will be verifications of employment, verifications of income. We'll be looking at all of those pieces. When you are a salaried employee, in other words, you get a W-2 at the end of the year, we're looking at that gross, because every single person out there has a different financial story and history, but also in terms of what your pay looks like, different pieces come out of that. And so we look at your gross monthly income. If you are self-employed, and I'm kind of bouncing down to the bottom bullet here, if you're self-employed, then we look at that net income. So that's where the difference comes in those two pieces. and it's an average of 2 years. And the 2 years sort of plays in because we really need to see a history. At the end of the day, when looking at financing, home financing, it's looking at that history and the ability to document that you have the ability to pay. So you need a minimum of 2 years employment history or a minimum of 2 years of self-employment. You can have gaps, but they do need to be explained. And, you know, it might vary. So many people have had gaps in employment, especially in 2020, due to COVID. And we understand that folks may have been laid off, they may have been furloughed. When that happens, that's really okay. The challenge comes is we've seen some folks, they may have been laid off from a job and it gave them an opportunity to transition into another career. If that's the case and you're in a totally different type of employment, then you may need that additional, that full 2 years of work history at that new type of employment. So it's really key when you're thinking, oh, I don't know if that's going to work for me. If you have questions, this is where it's a really good idea to speak with a loan originator, or sometimes they're referred to as loan officers, and talk with them and sort of share, this is the situation, this is the type of work, and explain what that looks like and see if how that would go. And if they say, oh, I think this would work, you might be able to move forward with that. So it's really important to be able to speak with a loan originator and kind of share what your history is and find out those answers. So we just need an explanation. And often just sort of keep in mind, we work with a lot of folks, they may have part-time or full-time employment, but they also do additional self-employment. And it could be something where they have consulting or they do something on the side. In addition, one common one is driving, rideshare driving. So they might drive for Lyft and or Uber, both together. One key thing when you're looking at self-employment and you're thinking about utilizing that income towards being qualified for that loan amount is that we're looking at that net. And many times what I see is folks driving for Uber, driving for Lyft are really writing off most of their expenses. They might have a car loan that they're writing off. They are writing off the insurance, gas, a variety of things that have to go along with that to lessen their tax burden, which makes sense because you want to be taxed on the least amount of income possible. But when it comes to a loan application or getting a loan, you're going to need as much income as possible. And so you may need to think about how much of that net income, how much you deduct on your taxes versus so that you can have a little more income to support that loan amount if you need it. So do keep that in mind. Savings. So savings is really key. You're going to need, we look at savings and checking accounts, certificates of deposits. You can have gifts from immediate family members. It cannot be from friends. It does need to be a family member. Sale of stocks and bonds, Roth IRA. Some folks will use funds out of their Roth, 401k. If you are thinking about using money out of your 401k, make sure to connect with the company where that you have that account, where those funds come from, and find out how much of that you have access to. It is different for everybody, and so make sure that you find out how much you have access to, and the lender will need the terms of that. And then there's financial assistance, and I'm going to get into some of this discussion, but there is significant funds available in the city of Boston, and so you've got Boston Home Center funds available. And additionally, there's what's called the Equity Builder Program. And specific banks have access to these additional funds. So you might be able to utilize those to close the gap if you do need it. Credit score. So I'm just kind of focused right now on condos since everybody's here looking at the Saige on Fountain condos. And so I have 660 here for a condo. This is the threshold at Cambridge Trust. This may vary for other lenders, and it can be really determined by the loan program. So make sure when you're thinking about what does your score need to be, that you're looking at that. And I would recommend, in fact, that you would go to annualcreditreport.com. And if you're unsure of what your score is, go directly there or directly to the bureaus, which are TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, and paying the money to order the score. I do caution you against a lot of the free scores. They often are not particularly accurate. And so you don't want to be surprised when you go to get that pre-approval and have your credit pulled and have that impact. And that way you can really know and be confident in that score. And the lender is also looking for 3 trade lines. And so each trade line, for example, if you have a credit card, when I'm looking at, or you're looking at your credit report, we can see you have a credit card, it's JP Morgan Chase, and we can see all the details of when you opened the card, how much you've borrowed, have you paid on time, what was your latest payment, your minimum monthly debt obligation. That would be one trade line. If you have student loans, each loan you took out is a trade line. A car loan would be a trade line. So we need to see at least 3. And if you don't have, maybe you have one trade line. You're like, oh, I only have one credit card. What can I do? Then you would want to see if the lender allows for non-traditional credit. And a key piece of non-traditional credit is making sure that you have the ability to document rent paid for 12 months. That needs to be 12 months rent paid on time. And this documentation must be canceled checks or bank statements. Sometimes folks say, well, I got a receipt from my landlord, or I did it with a money order, or I had my landlord management company do a rent roll that showed them that it was paid. And those specific documents are not allowable. That's not what we are able to utilize. So you need to make sure that we can see it in bank statements or canceled rent checks. And then we would just need to see a utility bill in your name and statements. So 12 months of statements where we can see that you paid that bill on time. And then a third obligation could be another utility, say a phone bill, electricity bill, something of that nature, or could be something else like you just document that you've paid for car insurance for the year and you have monthly payments that you pay, or it could be a gym membership that you pay. And always it's really about being able to document an obligation where you pay on time as agreed. And so if this is something that you need, and we certainly, Cambridge Trust allows for that, and we certainly have a number of folks where that they do utilize that non-traditional credit. And then you do want to ask too, if you don't have any credit, if this is allowable as well. So just sort of keep that in mind. And then debt to income ratio. So this, I will confess, before I ever started doing this, I had a hard time wrapping my head around this. But basically what we're looking at is how much of your income can we utilize towards your housing debt? And that's going to be your mortgage, which is your principal, your interest, your taxes, and your insurance, the tax being property taxes. The insurance would be if you have an additional insurance policy in addition to what's in the master insurance. You have a condo fee that will need to be paid. And if for some mortgages, there might be private mortgage insurance. So that would all factor into your housing debt. So I'm using the examples from one specific loan program that I'm going to talk about. And this is really what we see most of our first-time home buyers utilize because it allows for, it's the most affordable, it's going to be the best sort of payment option for you. And that would be anywhere from 33 to 36% of your gross monthly income would go towards your housing payment, your mortgage and your condo fee, really essentially is what it would be. Then we're looking at a back ratio, and we're looking at it saying, okay, well, of all of our income that we earn, we can't have everything going towards debt. There's a whole lot of other things we need to pay for in life. We need to clothe ourselves, we need to live, we need to eat, you should be able to have, enjoy yourself, do a vacation, whatever it might be that you need, and that's a part of your family, pay for your childcare. So it can be anywhere from 38% to 43% of your gross income towards all debt. So that would be your housing debt, your mortgage, and your condo fee, as well as all other debts. So that would incorporate You know, if you have a car loan, or if you have student loan debt or credit cards, we would look what that whole piece is. And when we're looking at how much loan amount you qualify for, we're looking at all of those pieces. We're looking at how much income you have and then how much debt you're carrying. And just to give you a sense, an idea to kind of wrap your head around it, if you earn $55,000 annually, and the loan allows for a 33 front ratio, this is towards your housing debt. So this is your mortgage and your condo fee. And then 38% of your gross income towards total debt. Then we can see that it would be about $1,512 towards the housing debt, mortgage and condo fee. And then total debt is $1,741. And so you can sort of see with this that you can only really carry an additional $229 a month in additional debt. And that would be if you have student loans, car loan, credit cards. The more debt you're carrying, the more challenging that is, because if you have more than $229, what that does is it eats into the amount of the loan amount that you could qualify for. So the higher the debt you have, the lower the amount of loan that you could qualify for. And so this varies for everybody. And I'm going to talk about some mortgage products on the next slide, but I do want to sort of comment too that one mortgage, there's compensating factors, One Plus Boston and one mortgage. And so you can go up to the higher ratios when you have the compensating factors. And some of those factors would be that you have low revolving debt compared to the amount of installment debt that you have, or you've been with the same employer for at least 2 years. It could be that you have no payment shock. Your mortgage and condo fee are going to kind of be the equivalent of what you're currently paying in rent, or if they're a little bit more, no more than 20% more than what you're currently paying. So you have no payment shock. And you would need to document that rent payment at that time. So those are some of the things that you can think about that can kind of get you up higher to the higher debt to income ratios. So mortgage products. So I've sort of listed them in order of affordability. And so the first one is One Plus Boston. And One Plus Boston is essentially one mortgage with some specific enhancements. The city of Boston is funding the One Plus Boston program so that there are lower interest rates and additional financial assistance available to borrowers. And it's just for City of Boston residents who are buying within the City of Boston. And so, for example, the way that it would work for the interest rate is that they would take that lender's one mortgage interest rate. So ours right now, the rate at Cambridge Trust is 2.5. And then depending on your income, if you're 100 to 80% area median income, you would get a 0.5 point discount. So with One Plus Boston, you would have a 2% interest rate at this time. So always keep in mind that rates can change, but at this time, that's what that would amount to. If you're under a 80% area median income, and this would be your total household income of all adults 18 years and older, if you're under 80% area median income, then your rate would be 1.5%, which really gives you much more borrowing power. And that's why it's so powerful and so useful to so many. Then there's an additional amount of money available for financial assistance. So it really depends on need. And I have seen folks who would be able to access upwards as much as $43,000 might be the most I've seen in terms of financial assistance. And that's going to be based on need. So for a lot of these units, you may find that you're not going to see $40,000 worth of financial assistance because it's not needed in order to get into the home. Your income and your debt, you can support that mortgage, and they're going to give you just enough that you need. Say you didn't have enough savings to support that. And the city doesn't want to see you necessarily close on a home and be at zero in your bank account, so you have no resources to do what you need to do. So they don't want to deplete you of all of your money if possible. So they do really want to provide that support. So the key thing about One Plus Boston is that the pre-approval process does take time. You do need to already have a home buying class certificate. You need to have completed a first-time homebuyer class before you can get the pre-approval. It's a process where you first start working with a lender that offers One Plus Boston, and then they will start that pre-approval application process with you. They'll collect documents. The documents you want to think about having on hand are 3 years of tax returns, 30 days of pay stubs. If you're self-employed, you need a year-to-date profit and loss, 3 years of, I think I said 3 years of tax returns, all the supporting documents, and then all your bank statements, 2 months of bank statements, statements for any retirement accounts and that type of thing. So those are some key things to kind of keep in mind. And and then there is an application process with the City of Boston that goes hand in hand with that. And that is where it can take time. The City of Boston, in terms of their turnaround time, is really dependent on volume. They are all working very hard, but it can take time to turn that around because there is such a high need. And so we've seen that it really takes roughly a month. I've seen it could be a little less, and I've seen it take more sometimes. So you want to plan ahead. If you're looking at One Plus Boston, you want to plan ahead to get that pre-approval in time. So I would say if you're looking to start the pre-approval process for this specific development, you may want to start reaching out to lenders in late May, June, so that you have that pre-approval in time for the lottery in July or August. So just something to kind of think about. If you are not a City of Boston resident, you still have a great opportunity with One Mortgage. This is a statewide mortgage that's really affordable. Right now, our rate is 2.5%. And really any lender that offers this, it's going to be a bit discounted. But you do want to shop around because they're not always the same. And there can be some lenders that are going to be lower than others. So just sort of keep that in mind. And then you can apply for financial assistance as a separate item. So the only thing you don't get with One Mortgage that you get with One Plus Boston is the further reduced rate. You would have 2.5 versus 2 or 1.5%. Key things about these two mortgages is there's no private mortgage insurance. It's low down payment, so it's a 3% down payment for those loans, and 1.5% need to be from your funds. So I was kind of looking and wrote down some of the numbers from when Denisha was talking about the purchase prices. So for example, if you were looking at a studio, you need to have at least $2,472 of your own funds. That would cover 1.5% of that down payment. And then you could get the remainder of the funds from financial assistance through the City of Boston. So that would be either for One Plus Boston or if you were doing One Mortgage plus financial assistance. So just to give you an idea, because you're going to also need funds that cover closing costs. And I think the ranges that you're going to find for any of these units is anywhere from, say, 5,000 to 6,000 and a little higher. I would say that that's probably the range that you would be in, 5,000 to 6,000 to 7,000 to 8,000. Closing costs always go up as the prices go up. So just sort of something to kind of keep in mind. And you can also get, sometimes folks will say, I could get a gift from a family member. I want to utilize less financial assistance. So it really does vary, and every single person has a different profile, different financial profile in terms of figuring out what's going to be the right mix for you. But you can get other loans. So Mass Housing has some great loans. They do low down payments. So you can do as low as 3% down, but there is private mortgage associated with the private mortgage insurance, PMI associated with that. And that's an additional cost to you. So do keep that in mind. And some other first-time home buyer options, there's Fannie Mae, Home Ready, Freddie Mac, Home Possible. They have first-time home buyer options for folks whose household income is 80% area median income or below, but there is PMI associated with those as well. Often lenders will have portfolio products, so you can check in with folks at your home buying class and find out if there might be a portfolio loan that's good for you. Sometimes I found some folks with high student loan debt or different types of scenarios, that could be an option. There could be more flexibility. And then FHA, and I think I saw a question in the chat kind of float by as there were a flurry of comments. FHA, is often seen as the first-time homebuyer loan program throughout the country. There are such phenomenal loans here in Massachusetts that are Massachusetts specific that very often I will see borrowers kind of opt to leave the FHA behind. It can be more expensive. It's 3.5% down payment, and there is mortgage insurance for the life of that loan. Oftentimes when you have mortgage insurance, you pay that mortgage insurance until you have 80% or 20% equity, excuse me. And then the mortgage insurance can go away. You can kind of follow up with that lender and you can get that dropped. However, that doesn't happen with FHA. It's for the life, and you can only refinance out of that. And there's always cost to refinance. You will always have to pay closing costs, and then you reset back to 30 years. Additionally, there's an upfront fee. They call it a MIP, a mortgage insurance payment. So let's say your closing costs are $5,000. You may find that you're going to have to pay, I'm looking at some of these price points, I would say probably at least $3,000 additional for that mortgage insurance payment for FHA. So it's a much more expensive option, and it's just, we're fortunate in Massachusetts to kind of have some great loan programs making it more affordable. And that is my overall quick and dirty sort of overview of some things to think about when you're getting ready to get financed. But we will have another workshop and we'll go deeper into all of these pieces and allow for questions, but also you can get a lot of information at your first time homebuyer class. So I just wanted to say good luck to you all, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Michelle. That was awesome. A lot of information. Don't freak out, guys. That's why we want you to sign up for the 90-day challenge. So we'll put the link in the chat. Make sure you sign up, enter your contact information so we follow up with you. We will go over all of the details to make sure that you are qualified to get a pre-approval from a lender. We'll also have another session with Michelle where we go over what lenders are looking for specifically, and you can ask, because I saw a lot of specific questions in the chat. We'll go over that at that time, because that's the forum to ask all of these financing questions. And I love that you guys have all these questions. If this has been helpful, please drop some 7s in the chat so we know, yes, you're paying attention, you're loving it so far. We're almost done. Again, make sure that you guys sign up and we will follow up with you and schedule those meetings so that, again, we can put a plan together for you specifically. Right now, we have Miss LaShonda Watson from Compass Working Capital. She's going to talk to us about, if you have a Section 8 voucher, how do you leverage that to purchase a home, right? There is a way. This is the overview, quick and easy, kind of what the Family Self-Sufficiency Program is about. We will have a separate session specific to those of you who have a voucher and want to purchase a home, what that looks like, because it's very in-depth. So we're not going to do that tonight. We want to give you kind of to get you thinking about what it looks like and what it's going to take for you to leverage that voucher to be able to purchase. Let me find her to unmute.
Thank you so much, Tanisha. Do I have sharing privileges?
You should, yes.
Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen then, if that's all right.
Yes,
Such a pleasure to be with you all tonight. My name's LaShonda. I'm representing Compass Working Capital. I'm just here to talk about this amazing program called Family Self-Sufficiency that's available to people who live in federally subsidized housing. We work with 3 particular partners, Boston Housing, Cambridge Housing, and also Metro Housing Boston clients at the moment. We offer this program to a few multifamily properties too, within the city limits. We offer it to Wynn Residential and POA communities as well, but primarily if you have a Section 8 certificate, that's a federal Section 8 certificate, meaning the city is not paying for your housing and it's paid by the federal government, then you would qualify for this program that we run. I want to start by saying that FSS is not specific to Compass. It's just that these 3 housing authorities have outsourced the program to us for us to manage it for them because we've got capacity, because all we do all day, every day is financial coaching. So they've outsourced the financial coaching aspect to us, and they still handle the savings piece of it. So we'll just kind of quickly go over the program and what good stuff is in store for you. So who is Compass? What is FSS? How does the savings work? What is financial coaching exactly? What are the graduation requirements, and what is enrollment? What does that look like? So who is Compass? So Compass is a nonprofit that partners with with housing authorities in the city, but we are separate completely. So we are just made up of people who are passionate about supporting families with low incomes to build assets and achieve their financial goals. That's in order to work towards their financial security. So we do this by providing free financial coaching and savings programs to family living in subsidized housing. And so on average, by working with us, our clients are able to build an average of $7,800 in savings, increase their credit score by roughly 69 points, and reduce their debt by roughly 2,100. These numbers vary depending on the individual, because I've seen some people escrow in the upwards of 30,000, but then I've seen some people not escrow at all. And that's because really this is tied to people's earned income potential. So the way that it works is usually every year you have to recertify your income or kind of provide proof of what you're earning. And if for whatever reason your income goes up, whatever dollar amount that the rent rises goes into the savings for you. And I have a demonstration of that. So we'll just start with this, hypothetical person, Tiffany. So say Tiffany starts the FSS program making $16,000 a year. So coming into the program, whatever you're earning today is your baseline. And say Tiffany is paying $400 in rent at the time she enters the program. So the idea to start to see those savings is that you are going to earn above the baseline. So both your earnings go up and your rent go up at the same time. So say Tiffany gets a promotion at work and her rent increases to $600 a month, and she's now making $24,000 a year. So that $200 difference is what's going to go into the bank account for Tiffany month after month. And at the end of the year, Tiffany will have earned $2,400 in savings. Now, mind you, this is all money that housing is putting in on her behalf. So she never has to put a penny of her own money in the savings account. This is all being saved for her on the back end. So in the front end of the process, Tiffany's paying her landlord like she normally does. And, so on the back end, she's also earning this $2,400 extra on the side, just, if she's got homeownership goals, that she can use it for that purpose. This program can last up to 5 years. So after 5 years, if Tiffany never earns another dollar, she will have earned $9,000 in escrow. Say, Tiffany's completed the program, she's worked with her coach, fulfilled all of her graduation requirements, and she's ready to move on. And this is the way that it works. So like I mentioned, in order to start to see those savings, your income has to go up above what the baseline was when you entered the program. And your rent also has to increase at the same time. What I wanted to mention too is that it counts all income in the household. So say, the person who's the voucher holder is working, and then she's got a spouse that's working, and then we've got kids in the household that are working, that are adult kids. All of that income counts towards these savings. And the question was, does it include all income? So the short answer is no. So FSS escrow is only related to earned income. So if she's got income coming in from any other source, SSI, DTA payments, child support payments, these kinds of income do not count towards the FSS savings. Now, housing may increase her rent because of those other sources of income, but it, as it relates to FSS and those savings, those things won't count for FSS. So what if her earned income never increases? So if your income never increases above what you earned coming into the program, so you would not save. Or if it dips below that, you wouldn't start to see those savings. I will mention though, you can still kind of work with the coach. That's not going to hinder your ability to coach and start building on your financial goals. But in terms of the escrow part of it, you will not start to see those savings. Do you have access to the account? So no, you don't have direct access to the account, but you can request eligible expenses to help you make progress towards the goals. So I'll give you an example. When I was in this program, because I'm also an FSS graduate, one of my goals was to increase my credit. So I had $6,000 in escrow. I wanted to get a secured visa to start to see my credit score boost. I borrowed $500, well, not borrowed, I took $500 from my escrow, and I started a secured visa at Metro Credit Union in order to do that. So there are really cool things that you can do even while you're still in the program to remove those kinds of financial barriers. You talked about, debt to income ratio, that there are ways that you can leverage this money to clear the pathway towards, your home ownership goals. So what happens when you graduate? Now, when you successfully complete the program, you'll receive a check for the amount in your FSS account. But for some reason you don't meet the program requirements, or if you decide to leave the program by choice, you'll forfeit any accumulated savings in the account. So what's financial coaching? So honestly, this is the nuts and the bolts of what FSS is all about. Our financial coaches are really the heart of the program. I can tell you on a personal level that when I was in the FSS program, long, after the money was spent, it was the skills that I learned along the way that really stayed with me and helped to propel me forward. And those are the things that you keep. The money comes and it goes, but it's the learning, it's the financial education that, help to change those habits and help put me in position to start to build assets and just do better. This is a real coach. This is a real client. This client is also someone that was on our first ever client advisory board. So we use our clients in our marketing. And what you see is reflective of the community and reflective of our staff base too, because we're a majority people of color organization, a woman-led organization. So we really, stand by those values. And so financial coaching is really just a partnership. What I'll tell you is that our financial coach will be a partner to you and will provide resources, information, accountability, and support, as well as track your progress towards your goals to help you successfully complete the program. So you've got this person who's an accountability partner, start to finish. And we are a judgment-free zone. So, however you're coming into this space, with whatever is going on in your life, we're here to help. We're help with strategies, we're here to help with resources, and we're here to help with referrals to trusted community partners to help you get to those goals. We really believe that you are the expert in your own life, and you really are the person who drives this process. You set your own financial goals. You determine how long you want to stay. So yes, this program is a 5-year program, but if you get in position to purchase after a year, after 2 years, if you've met those requirements, you're absolutely encouraged to move on. You're not locked into anything. And here's what I like to let folks know up front is, number one, this is restriction-free money. So housing can't tell you how to spend this money. If after 5 years, you're not ready to buy and you change your mind, you can't lose your voucher for being involved with this program. And the other thing that I like to let people know is that whatever savings is in place for you is never going to go against you to increase your rent. So a lot of folks are concerned coming in that, wow, housing counts every penny. Are they going to increase my rent if I've got thousands of dollars in escrow? And the answer is just no. Some of the things that we can help with are helping to, lower your financial expenses, debt and credit, emergency savings, assets building, insurance, and you name it. Whatever we're not able to do, we will absolutely refer you to a trusted community partner who can. And one thing I will say about our coaches is they go back for professional development. So all of the information that you're getting is what's current and the newest thing that's out there on the market. Some of the other things that you're eligible for are free credit reports. And these are soft pulls, so you can receive up to 4 credit reports per year and some credit building assistance. Financial workshops. So we do kind of just different workshops on various topics, like navigating the car buying process and so much more. And like I mentioned over and over, if we can't do it, if we don't have the answers, we'll help you find the right resources. And get you to where you need to be, whether that's, free tax preparation or car buying, legal services, small business development, you name it. And so something that you should know is that we share only general information with housing providers, but any of the confidential stuff about your credit score and in these kinds of things, that is kept completely confidential, and we can only share limited things like, is Tiffany, involved in the program? Yes. We'll never say she's involved in the program, her score is 680, any of those things. No, we can't get that deep. And so how often do you meet? So the first year, there are 4 required appointments. And right now we're working, virtually, so on Zoom or over the phone. So it's really every 3 months the first year. And then year 2 and beyond, it's every 6 months. So that's really only a twice a year commitment. You and your coach build a relationship and you decide that, we're getting into the, to the thick of the home buying process. And I really want to help, kind of someone to help me navigate this process. It's very, very complicated. You can absolutely meet more frequently. Just you and your coach have to figure out a schedule that makes sense for you. If you decide to move forward in this, you just have to see your coach within the first 90 days in order to lock in the enrollment. Appointments are available by phone, video chat. Eventually, when it's safe enough to do so, we can do a face-to-face kind of visit. We can definitely book appointments online. Every coach has a unique Calendly link that they'll share with clients so that you can do that with ease. And we have a missed appointment policy. So, life happens. We're in the thick of a pandemic right now. It's totally okay. Just as long as you keep in contact and you update us with, your current information, we'll always do our due diligence. The last thing we want is for you to forfeit this, any money that you've saved, or, forfeit this amazing opportunity to, work with your coach. So if you don't complete at least one coaching appointment over the course of 1 year, we'll just assume that you're not interested. And unfortunately, we would have to close the account. But again, we will text you, email you, send letters to your home, do whatever we need to do to kind of prevent that. And what are the graduation requirements? So in order to graduate and walk away with a full check, you just have to be working, whether it's full-time or part-time, self-employed, just be working. Meet regularly with your financial coach. Again, that's every 3 months the first year, every 6 months, year 2 and beyond. Be off of any cash welfare assistance 12 months before graduation. So that's any member in the household. So no one in the household can be on any DTA cash assistance specifically. Any other type of cash assistance is fine. And just be in compliance with your lease and with your housing authority. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to leave the floor to anyone who may have questions or I don't know, in the interest of. I'm so sorry, I unmuted myself. I was just going to leave the floor open for questions if there's time. Is there time, Denisha? You're on mute.
Tanisha, you're on mute.
I like talking to myself, it's okay. No, but yes, we are in the question portion of the presentation. Thank you guys for staying with us. It literally ended up being an hour and a half of just information that we hope is valuable to you guys. You guys have been asking great questions throughout, so we're going to run through and answer those. And then specific to FSS, how do people sign up? Do they just go to Compass Working Capital on the website and sign up? Yes. Oh, wait, I have to unmute you.
Yeah, so it's compassworkingcapital.org /apply. You can also just reach out to the outreach team. I am one of the only folks that answer the phone, so you'll get me. You'll really get me if you use this number. Definitely email. Yeah, and so even the applications that you send in come directly to my inbox, and usually we're very, very good about getting back to you within a 24-hour period. So we will always let you know where you stand.
Perfect. Thank you. And we will have, again, for those of you who are utilizing federal funding and have a voucher, don't worry, we will have a separate session where you can ask all of your specific questions. We'll have the lenders who actually do these loans, so they can tell you kind of what they need from you. So we put a plan together to make sure that you're successful. So there will be a part 2 for general financing, and then there will be a part 2, I guess we'll say part 3, for those who have Section 8 vouchers and want to use that to purchase a home, what that looks like. I do know that the program, they help you cover your mortgage or pay a portion of your mortgage for up to 15 years. And that is as long as you qualify. So you do have to recertify annually and make sure that you submit all of your documents, but they will help you pay a portion of your mortgage for that time frame. So let me see some of the questions I got here. Can you buy investment property after you own at Saige? Yes. So you have to buy this first, because if you buy that property first, you can't buy this one. So buy this first, and then you can leverage your savings, leverage your equity, however you want to do it, to then purchase your investment property next. And we have some strategies for that to help you there. Do you need to be a Boston resident to apply to live at Saige? Nope, you do not. You need to be a Boston resident for the One Plus Boston program to qualify for the down payment and closing cost assistance. But for this project to live in it, you do not need to be a Boston resident. You just need to apply. Qualify based on income and apply. Because it is a lottery, you get selected. Let's see, someone asked about resale. So yes, there is a cap on how much you can sell these for. So you cannot say, I bought it for $200,000 today, and 2 years from now, I want to sell it for 500, because that's what the market says. The city does put a cap on how much. They have it predetermined. So kind of a schedule of how much equity you get that's built up every year, so that you can sell it, hopefully make a profit on it. So you gain some equity, but still making sure it's affordable for the next buyer, right? The goal is to maintain affordability for many families. If they only make it affordable for you and then you sell it at market rate, we just lost that housing stock for the next family who needs affordable housing. So it's designed so that, again, you do have the opportunity to gain some equity, just not maximum, if that makes sense. What if you already have a pre-approval? So if you already have a pre-approval, that's fine. You're looking for a home now. If you're still looking when this project becomes available and the lottery is happening, then you update your pre-approval. So you're going to submit all your documents again to the bank, get a new pre-approval, and apply for the lottery. I would say make sure you sign up at our website so that we have your information. Once we have your information, we will follow up with you to make sure you don't miss deadlines. That's our job. So sign up so that most of the pressure and the stress is kind of off of you, because just so you know, I'll be annoying. I'll keep calling, I'll keep texting, I'll keep emailing to make sure you do what you need to do. Okay. Someone asked, who is the property management company? That is UHM Property Management, and they are based out of Roxbury. It's a local minority-owned company. And let's see. Parking. There is one parking space per unit, so everyone has a parking space in there. Everyone may not have a car, so you will have one. Dariella, I'll ask you if it's deeded, so it's kind of assigned, or is it just each unit has a spot? Hold on, wait, let me unmute.
Hi, everyone. So each parking spot will be assigned to each unit. So really it's whoever comes in first, it'll be on a first come, first serve, and we'll assign them in that way. We have 20 units that are garage parking, and we have 20 units that are outside.
Okay, so everyone has a parking space, whether you're above ground, below ground, depends on where you get picked in the lottery, because you choose your parking space, which is pretty cool. Let's see, so there is parking for everyone. They asked if there was guest parking. No guest parking, but they have street parking available for your guest, right? Utilities. The only thing that you would be responsible for would be your electric bill, because there's no gas for the building. So your heat and, hold on, I think I need to unmute you.
Yeah, so each condo unit has its own individual systems, and they're all electric. So you'll be responsible for that electricity. Your condo fee will cover, it will be divided by all the condo owners for utilities in the common areas.
Perfect, yes. And then these are, I don't know what the term is, Dariella, so you can help me. I'll say highly efficient units, so that your utility bill should not be crazy in the first place. So your water is covered in your condo fees, and then the only other bill that you're responsible for is your electric bill. In an efficient building, that means your bill shouldn't be too high, so you're saving there as well.
Right, and I think, Denisha, you mentioned earlier condo fees. So our condo fees are an average of $374 a month. That fee covers the management fee, it covers snow removal, it covers trash removal, common area utilities, and in that cost, in the all-in cost that Denisha presented for units, we've also included content insurance. So there's insurance for the content that's in your individual condo unit as well.
That's awesome.
So that all-in cost covers everything essentially, except for your individual electricity bill, because we don't have a way to really average that out at the moment.
Perfect. No, that's super helpful. And then a question which I thought was great, which means people love this project, which I am super excited for. They asked, does the developer have any other projects in or around Boston if they don't get picked for this one? Stop muting yourself.
Sorry, I just have a puppy here that I'm worried is going to start barking and annoy everyone. So so we, Kevin and I both, Kevin is of Oxbow Urban. Him and I are also working on other projects in the area. We have a project that's coming up that will involve some other homeownership projects on Blue Hill Ave. So our hope is to have the same approach for other projects in the future. So I'm hoping that folks will stay in touch with us, because if you don't get an opportunity here in Saige, you'll have opportunities in other homeownership projects that we have in the pipeline.
And we're always looking for opportunities. So if you know anyone who has land or looking to develop a space, again, please feel free to reach out to us so that we can have that discussion and see what it looks like. Again, the goal is to create opportunities for people across a range of incomes. So if that's something that you're interested in, or you know someone who has land and may be interested in having that conversation, please have them reach out so that we can kind of bring this to more people. And And then here they ask for income verification timeline. So if it's at the beginning or at the end, I think the short answer is to qualify, they check your income, and right before you close, they check your income to make sure that you still qualify. Because if you get the raise before closing, you make too much money. So you gotta finesse it. And we'll talk about that offline, not here, but those are things where you might have to finesse that. I think that, let me see. The developer's website is under construction, so that will be up soon for you guys to take a look at for any other projects coming up. But once you sign up on the Saige on Fountain website, which we put in the chat, you are kind of signed up for life. So anything that becomes available, we will send that out to you. When you sign up, you'll get updates. So every month we'll give you guys an update so you can see where the project is, how it's coming along, to make sure that you are in the know for when the lottery is going to happen for this. We want you guys, hold on, let me see if I can put it back up. Uno momento. If you have any questions, hold on. We want you to ask, you can reach out to Katia, but also make sure that you're sharing. So if you have friends, family who you think this would be the perfect place for them to live, we ask that you share with them, have them follow us on Facebook or on Instagram for more information. We will have kind of giveaways and some accountability things to make sure that you guys are staying on top of your goals so that you can purchase a home or purchase one of our units by the end of the year. So we do want you to stay in touch with us, and that's why we ask that you sign up on the website. So I don't like to spam people. So the goal is to send out an email like once a month, just giving you an update on things. And that's separate kind of from the 90-day. The 90 days getting you prepared for this. And then our monthly update is just so that you know where the project is and you can see kind of timeline what's happening. Someone asked if they can take a tour of the units when they are available. That would be open to those who are in the lottery and are selected, correct, Dariella? Let me see where you are. When would people be able to view the units? To actually see it. They have the tour online, so I encourage you to go on the website and kind of click through because it gives you a great feel of the space. But when would people be able to physically walk the premises?
So folks will be officially, so we're right now our tentative completion date where we'll have the certificate of occupancy is December of 2023. At that point, we will have already held the lottery. So we will already have a lot of folks engaged and ready to view units and decide whether they want to reserve a unit or not. So unfortunately, we would have to go through the lottery process before you're able to actually see the physical unit. However, Denisha and the So Phenomenal team have done an awesome job at coordinating the 3D tours of each unit type, which has been coordinated directly with our architects and our architect plans. It has very similar finishes. So that is very close to what the final product will be.
And people went crazy because you said December 2023, girl.
Oh, sorry, 2022. I'm so sorry, December 2022.
They went crazy. Yes, words matter.
It'll be this year, at the end of this year.
So yeah, someone asked, when is the lottery? Again, we will keep you updated on the lottery because it depends on construction timelines and some things are out of our control. If there's a snowstorm and they can't continue to do work, the pandemic. So we have it slated right now, I believe, Dariella, for in the fall, early fall, potentially.
Yeah, so for us, it's a little bit of a moving target. As you guys know, here in New England, we can't really predict what snow is going to be like or what rain's going to be like, or if if we experience any construction delays. So we really have to play it by ear until we get closer. But right now we're targeting early fall for the lottery.
Perfect. Someone asked pet friendly. Yes, it is a pet friendly building. We actually in the first iteration had like a pet washing station. So you can, give your dog a bath, not in your unit to get all the fur. But from the focus group, from the community, they said, nope, I don't want that. Give me more space for entertaining. So again, feedback is always welcome. That's how we make projects and homes that you guys love and want to live in, right? We want your feedback on these. People ask how many units. There are 16 studios, 16 one-bedrooms, 6 two-bedrooms, and 2 3-bedroom units. I believe that's everything. Someone asked, is the unit soundproof? How do you want to answer that, Dariella?
So our units are not, they're not built soundproof, but I think that I think it'll be like any other building that that you've been in the past. I don't expect that you'll be able to hear too much from your neighbors. We are definitely taking that into consideration as we understand that home ownership in condo buildings, that's a big deal for folks.
Okay, so I want to say thank you, everyone. It is 7:47. My kids are so patient and loving. Thank you for staying with us and asking all of your great questions, watching the presentation, giving feedback on the project. We truly appreciate it. We will be in touch. So you're going to start hearing from us from tomorrow. To make sure that you are qualified and what you need for this opportunity. The session, I have it recorded on Facebook Live. So if you go to Saige on Fountain Facebook page, you will see this presentation there and you can share it with friends and tag them. Please encourage your friends and family to sign up on the website so that we can follow up with them and tell them more about this project. The reception has been great. There's been over 200 of you guys on here tonight. So we're really, really excited. And we will have emails coming. It will be summary of this. Some people ask for a copy of the slides. We'll have that going out to you guys. We'll have the date for the Section 8 to home ownership seminar. And then we'll also have just the lending. So you understand financing and what it is that you need to do to get your finances in order to apply for these units. So we have a few more sessions coming for you guys later on in the next couple months as well. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great rest of your week, everyone.